Welcome to Dynamite Download.
There he is, Brent the Brain. What up, dude?
What's up, guys?
How you doing, Bo? You got your sea legs still?
Oh man, yeah, I'm getting back. I'm still a little beat, a little tired, but man, what a trip, man.
Yeah, Jericho Cruise has been definitely high on my bucket list. I'm an avid cruiser for one of my favorite vacations in general, so that's always kind of been like a theme cruise on my list. I had no idea you were going, and definitely some FOMO for sure. And we would love to go eventually. I mean, was that the fifth one? I think then the sixth one's coming up in November.
No, their seventh is coming. This was the sixth.
Seventh.
Lucky number 7.
Was it 3 nights or 4 nights?
It was 4.
And how many cumulative hours of sleep do you think you got in those 4 nights?
You know what? I probably slept a lot because I mean, I was probably going to bed depending on the night and how tired I was. Anywhere from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. But I was probably getting up at like 11. It's because, geez, you're in the, I was just in a regular stateroom without like a balcony or a window, so like it's pretty dark in there. So like I could have probably slept all day and not even know it.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about interior rooms. Like, I don't mind it getting that because like the cruise is like you're barely in your room. You should be out and doing stuff, especially theme one. So to me, like if we go on a Jericho Cruise, a balcony obviously would be nice, but if you want to save a little money, then do an interior, like, who cares? Because you should be out and about socializing for sure on that. How long have you had it? Did you have it booked for?
Oh, geez, like I just decided to go like December 27th.
Oh, really? There were still cabins available that late?
Yeah, like it was like a last minute thing. They started releasing all the AEW people that were going, and I was able to get the approval for my wife to go. Sweet. So it was just kind of like it just came all together like real quick, which usually my AEW trips are like that. Like I decide like 2 days before I'm going to go somewhere. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to Baltimore today and go to the show, and figure it out.
Red Eye to San Antonio, no big deal.
Yeah,
that's right. Sometimes you just got to be improvised like that, and that's even more fun.
Yeah, definitely. But you can see this. I sent you guys one of these schedules, which is cool because it's like jam packed. Like it's like there's stuff I missed because I was doing something else. I mean, but it was like a constant flow of like activities, and it was so well organized. SPD, you said you've been on cruises before, right?
Lots of probably been on in my life like at least 20. So I love.
Oh wow, dude!
It's the same thing. You get your itinerary or whatever for the day, and it's like you want to do all this stuff, but there's so many different things that pull you in different directions. You definitely have FOMO of wanting to hit it all, but you can't hit it all.
Yeah, and this was my 5th one, so it was like, as cruises go, they seem to be very pretty much all similar, like the boats and just this, how they do things. But like the crew they had on that ship, I mean, it was top notch. I just couldn't believe how smooth it was. And the other thing that was awesome about this is it's not like your online wrestling community. I mean, legit, like everyone was so cool.
Nice.
I mean, I felt like I basically like summed it up is like if you died and went to heaven and you were a wrestling fan, you'd be here on the cruise. Like cool. It was just everything that I could ever want in like a wrestling event and more. Which is also funny. There was a guy dressed as Jesus on the boat.
Oh, Wrestling Jesus was there, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It's like I ran into him in the elevator. He's just a funny guy. I mean, I can't even believe I was on it, and I'm sad it was over.
Is there something you could have done differently to prepare for it? Like, did you feel like you were prepared going into it? Because a lot of times when I go on cruises, it's like, oh man, I wish I would have bought like a theme outfit or something different? And like, did you feel like you were prepared for everything that it offered?
I think so. I looked ahead of time to see what things were going to be like and like what was going to go on. I kind of had a game plan in my head of what I was going to do, and like as it went on, you diverge and you change things up. So I don't think I would do anything different. There was a couple shows I missed. Joe Hendry wasn't able
Wait,
to
who?
make it.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
And like, because he was at the Rumble the night before, so I assumingly something happened, and I the show they put on though instead of him. I think it was the Tony Storm and RJ City did like some skits, and I was somewhere else. I can't even remember where I was, and I was sad that I missed that. And Harley Cameron also did like I caught some of it, like a show, like she was singing other songs and stuff, and she's just fantastic. So
Oh, she's tremendous. Yeah, she and Jericho sung I Hate Myself for Loving You. She joined Fozzy. Oh my goodness, tremendous.
Yeah, I
Tremendous.
saw
And
that. It's really cool.
I always wanted to see Fozzy, because I was always missing him when they would come to Pittsburgh. So like I got to see them, and it was awesome seeing that. Seeing Judas live, it was pretty awesome. And all like you're showing some of these pictures, all the like Will Ospreay was everywhere on the boat. Like anywhere I turned, like he was there. He was drinking, he was dancing, he was partying. And like how awesome he is as a wrestler, like one of the best in the world. He's like an awesome human being. He
That's
would
really cool to hear.
like you would just go up to him. He would like sign autographs. He would get a picture. Get selfies. He just show up at karaoke and just start singing and the after parties he was dancing. I mean, and Mark Briscoe was the same. Like you're just walking around and there they are.
Yeah.
Tony Storm. I saw Tony Storm and Juice like all over the place, and like that's what's just so crazy. You're just like going to dinner and boom, there's Brian Cage. Boom, Tony Storm's there, and then like so I'd always you say hi to them, they say hi back, or like I try to one time when I saw Juice and Tony, I was like, aren't you guys famous for something? And Juice was like, I think in some circles.
Yeah.
So I mean,
like, being on the ship, like obviously when you go to a show, there's essentially like there's the crowd and there's the wrestlers. Like, does it feel like everyone's just kind of there to have a good time, and it's not like the over fandom part where it's like you gotta have like security because these fans are getting like too crazy, or it's just like like they're kind of just everyday people just like us, but they're people we love to watch on TV and do awesome things.
Yeah, that's like what I said, like with the people that were there. You might think you'd have like a rowdy and like crazy crowd, and people were drinking and having fun and letting their hair down, but like I think I didn't notice anybody disrespecting the wrestlers or their privacy, or like everyone just seemed like a big community.
Great.
It was just it was kind of like I felt like I was on another planet, and it was like a nice to get away, and like I'm just surrounded by happiness and like cheerfulness, and no one's complaining about anything. It was like
would you say it's a Dynamite download vibe? That positivity.
Yes, definitely.
See, that's one of the things I love about cruising is there's something about the vitamin C that brings out joy in everybody. Like to me, it feeds the soul, just kind of like escaping the noise of like mainland and the real world. Like when you're on a cruise, especially like a themed one of like something we love so much and are passionate about, like there's essentially no worries in the world. You're just there to enjoy yourself 100%. You go to a show, you got to drive home, you got traffic, then go back to the grind. It's like you're there and you're immersed, and you're just like, you almost forget about the outside world. That's what I love so much about cruising in general. Then you mix in pro wrestling and people that we love to watch that are, Dynamite download favorites and in our draft, and like we watch them every single week on TV. So it's just like the perfect recipe to like an awesome weekend.
I mean, one of the cool I was the one night I was in the hot tub, wow, and like it's right by the ring. It's actually right to the, if you see that picture with Thunder there, it's like to the left of her there. So I was just like chilling in the hot tub, and then I didn't expect to see Thunder wrestle. And she came out and wrestled Lady Frost, which was like, I'm sitting on the top of the hot tub just like cheering them on. It was just so amazing,
Yeah, and Thunder says that what happens on the Jericho Cruise stays on the Jericho Cruise unless you take pictures. But I understand she successfully defended her Riot Cabaret title against Nyla Rose, and with an interesting finish. Are some interesting finishers in that match.
Yes. It was one of the wildest matches I've ever seen, and it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
And which is kind of crazy is after their match, I ended up getting to have dinner with Thunder.
Oh.
Which in the dining room, which was talk about I can't even explain like how cool that was.
Right.
Just to sit there and hang out, eat dinner, and talk about like everyday life, and just even hearing like how this match came about, and like it was just like I don't know, it's hard to explain of like how my mind was just blowing like left and right.
It does sound. It also, if you know, but it sounds like Nyla also had dinner during that match. But we'll move on from that. If you know, but it definitely Jericho Cruise not for
mind running or mind blowing.
Yeah, exactly.
So for in terms of pure wrestling, like I didn't really get to look too deep into those daily schedules. Like, is it the wrestling shows kind of like organized like an event, or is it kind of like a free flowing thing, or is it like almost like an episode of whatever they're doing essentially, or is it just kind of like free flowing throughout the day? Like, 1 hour we're going to do wrestling from 12 to 1, and then we're going to do another hour block from 5 to 6 or whatever that is.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. The nice thing was too, they kind of had like their own little like theme going from each wrestling show, where they would have like feud or people, so it kind of tied together, which was kind of nice. Which was cool. Jay Lethal was doing Black Machismo.
Oh yeah,
which was. I mean, he was like, hey, I'm gonna be wrestling Lex Luger over here, and it was Brian Cage. Like he was, and he picked Lexi Nair up on his shoulder like Liz, and I ran into Jay Lethal a lot too on the ship, and he was just fantastic to talk to.
My dream is to come up to Jay Lethal with a Slim Jim and just see what he does.
Yeah,
like,
he might eat it.
He might go. All of a sudden, just watch him transform into Black Machismo right there.
Yeah. I mean, I was shocked because I didn't think I'd ever see that live again,
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
right.
It would be cool
to see wrestling shows. I mean, you were the hot tub time machine spot. I mean, it's the perfect spot.
Yes.
To get like close up there, a good spot for wrestling shows. Do you have to get there a little like extra time in advance?
Yeah, I mean, depending on where you wanted to stand, some people I noticed would, get up close to the ring for maybe an hour before. I just kind of moseyed in whenever I ate so much ice cream, it was insane.
Unlimited soft serve, right?
Yeah, it, and I love soft serve, and it was so good. Yeah. So, like, I'd make my rounds and go get some self serve and go out back to the ring or go back to what I was doing. I legit knew. I lost 12 pounds before I went on the cruise because I knew I was just going to go buck wild and eat food like crazy, So, but yeah, I mean, you could, there was a limited like seating. There's a lot of standing for the wrestling if so, and sometimes you could like mosey in somewhere, but anywhere you kind of like the upper deck or like, you could see the action pretty much anywhere and get a good seat whenever.
Right. I mean, you should be standing for that anyway. You're at the middle
Yeah,
of the seat on
exactly.
the ship for Austin
Yeah.
Wrestling. Get out of your
Yeah.
seats.
Standing and protect your drink.
Yes, exactly. Did the so obviously like theme cruises, you know, it's a premium thing to do. While you're on the ship, other than like your typical things, like what was like extras that you maybe had to pay for that you know we might not be advertised, like you know certain meet and greets or certain things like
Mhm.
that? Like were any of those like extra stuff?
So the Legends meet and greets, I think, were more, and Scott Steiner was one of them, and Jushin Thunder Liger. I think those were the two. I think they were $100 each, which I did not do.
Yeah.
But all the photo sessions and autograph sessions that you were like pre-assigned beforehand. They gave you a little card to tell you when you could go, and then you went and got a ticket for the photos. You got a ticket to who you wanted to see, and then you waited in line. And then if you wanted to go to another person in that session, they had 4 people, I think, at a time. You had to go back and get another ticket and go get the picture. They wouldn't let you. Well, it depends. It was a gray area, but if you're going to get photos, you weren't to ask for autographs, and vice versa. If you go to the autographs, you weren't to get the photos. I really respected that. I know some people kind of try to take advantage, and I also didn't want to like bother the wrestlers as I was walking around. Like the only time I did was when I first saw Juice and Tony Storm come out of an elevator, and we were the only people in the room. So I was just like, this would probably be a good spot to get a good photo because I was marking out. But other than that, I could have got a ton more pictures, but I just I felt like I wanted to respect, their time, and like, because a lot of people were like, you go out, they're leaving a room and like you have a trail of people like trying to hound on them. And yeah, and it wasn't all the time, but like I said, I just tried to respect that aspect of it and got the pictures whenever I could, when the time slots were.
Right.
So it actually, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, mine.
Well, I was just gonna ask. It's like it seems like though that that was most people felt were kind of like you. Like most of the fans were very respectful, and it was and it seemed like the wrestlers were a lot more relaxed around.
Yes,
you. And it created that vibe the whole weekend. Yeah,
definitely. And it was, I mean, when we ported to the Dominican Republic, they had their like own little like private area that they had like a pool and like a lazy river and bars, and it was cool. You just showed up like Lady Frost was chilling in the pool. I was walking down and Lance Archer came up to me and was like, "Hey man, do you know where I could get something good to eat?" And I was like, "I don't know.
I don't know where they had served
horse." I wish I would have. I was like, I don't know, man. I'm not from around here. That's what and he just started laughing, and like there was a map right beside us, so he just started checking out the map. So oh, dude, and they had a lot of. Well, Nigel McGuinness did his magic act.
Oh, cool.
And man, it's so good, and it's real emotional. It was fantastic, and talking to Nigel after he's an awesome guy. I mean, that was really cool. That was different. They had like comedy acts. Like Big Bill is so funny.
Oh, like I saw that Big Bill and Enzo had a reunion.
Yes. That was so cool. Enzo was everywhere on the ship too. I mean, you wouldn't. There were some guys you didn't see a lot, but usually like everyone was out and about mingling and having a good time. The RJ City. Oh my gosh, I love RJ City so much. Like I've always kind of really been into the hey AEW, and then more and more like his sense of humor. Like a lot of people don't get. I think I love it. It's so good. I forget. He was talking about comparing Magic to like pro wrestling in one of his comedy scenes, and he came into the elevator and I was there and I was like, "Yo, RJ City." He's like, "Hey man." I'm like, "Dude, Magic's real." And he's like, "Yeah, I heard that." Like, I don't know. I just, and the first time I saw him in the elevator, I like kind of marked out. I'm like, RJ City. He's like, "Dude, it's Friday night. You have all week." Like, dude, it's too early for this. It just started. I just started dying. It was just so good. And then, geez, like there's bands. They had uh, I think they were called Galaxies of the Jukebox. They're like a cover band that played like 80s music, like
Oh,
so
Outrunners.
good. Oh yeah, the Outrunners. Oh, like during the comedy act, they were fantastic and just great guys. When you run into them, it's just like wow. Um, so there's just like a ton of stuff like other than just wrestling. Like I think I was watching more other things other than the wrestling because I think I missed a couple things going on in the ring because something else was going on. So it was just mind blowing. Like I just felt overstimulated like the whole time. Like
That's why
just
I was like, how much did you sleep? Because for me, like even just cruising on like a non-theme cruise, it's like I don't like to sleep that much, even though it's a vacation to relax. But it's like for me, my mindset on a cruise, like I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss a meal.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss an activity. I don't want to miss the nice weather or all this stuff. So it's like to me, even though I love to sleep and that's what you need to do on vacation, I don't ever really get much sleep. It's like I need a vacation from a vacation.
You
When
can
I go
you
on
can
cruise.
sleep when you get off the boat. Sleep when you
Right.
get off. Yeah.
yeah. But like yeah, and like I did so much walking. It was almost like if you're going to Disney World, I just was like logging my steps. Like it was like 30,000 a day. Like,
Nice.
and normally when I'm home, if like I'm not doing much, I might be doing like 5 or 6,000 if I go for a walk, might be 10, but like I was doing over 30 every day.
Wow.
I was pretty sore, just my
Well,
body. Um,
The
I
one
gotta
rule,
ask.
the couple of rules we have, my wife and I, when we go cruising, is always take the stairs because you're eating so much and
yes,
soft serve
yes,
and every desserts, and go dancing every night. And those are our two
yeah,
little cruising rules. And so that's what we always try to live by when we're going. Like, if it's a live music band, go dancing. Go to whatever the dance club. Like at least get some dancing because my wife loves to get down and boogie. And so the cruise life, like obviously by the sounds of it, seems like you would do it again.
yes, yes. Especially like a wrestling fan, and if you're an AEW fan, to me, it's almost like a must if you're like diehard. Because yeah, I've been to a lot of like live events and like some other events too. It's probably the most involved I've ever been in the wrestling world. Um, from just like being like an avid watcher and not really doing much other than just watching the TV product up until AEW came out. I'm like on the move. I'm always about just going to. So yeah, like and like you said, like I love cruises, so like
Right.
it's like yeah, it was
So,
just kind of mind blowing of
so
like a
Brent,
how
Brent, let
awesome.
me ask you this
Mhm.
question. November 7th to the 11th. That's the next one. What do you
2026.
what do you say?
I thought it was
2026.
2025.
Oh,
Oh, that's like
really?
Is it
yeah, it's
2025
this
or
year.
2026?
Is it
Wow, that's
2026?
close.
Well, whenever it is, what do you say? Dynamite download trip on the Jericho Cruise.
Oh, I would if I could. Yeah, if it's something I could like swing, you know what I mean? I'd definitely like it'd be definitely awesome to go with you guys. Because I was by myself, which a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know if I was one of the. I was there wasn't a lot of people there flying solo, so but it's just how it worked out. But I do all kind of like wrestling stuff by myself because I don't have a lot of people around me or friends that really care or put up the money to go.
yeah. It looks
Right.
like go up. This say 2026. So
Yeah, that's what I
Did it?
thought.
yeah, go back. They said that the one you just had, it said looked like it was 2026. I'll go up a little bit.
Oh yeah, right
there.
here.
Yep, 2026.
Yeah.
Dang, that's so far away.
But you know what? We have plenty of time to prepare for it. And
Right.
I think we need by then we'll have new merch. We'll be able to I think we'll set up ourselves a little Dynamite download invasion
Oh yeah,
Sea
Dynamite
Invasion.
download Speedo if I have to.
Oh, you know, and we gotta bring 80s clothes to represent the Outrunners.
Right.
We gotta dress our model clothes. We gotta touch tips. You know, we gotta do the whole thing. I think we definitely need to make our presence known in the next one.
Right.
And I'm all about it. I know Full Tilt Deb will get on the boat and she'll ditch us to go hang out with the cool kids. But that's just Full Tilt Deb.
There are lots of cool kids.
Yeah, let's do it. Dynamite download. We're going on the cruise. Let's do it.
I would love it, man. I guess I should have read the fine print. I thought it was 2025. That would have been great if there was one at the end of this year, because like so much has happened in AEW that we're like, involved, but to have that be, almost 2 years away, that's wild. Like Jericho usually pumps one a year at least, so maybe it'll.
Yeah, I think they wanted to try it at a different, like in the fall instead of the, in the beginning of the year.
Yeah. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, that's almost 2 years from now. Like, obviously, the way Jericho's going, is nothing's stopping him anytime soon. But like, you would think you'd want to strike while the iron's hot with the learning tree and his current health and everything like that. So I'm kind of shocked how far away it is. But I mean, chartering a private cruise definitely takes probably a bunch of advanced planning.
Well, that gives me more time to get my turn this keg back into a 6-pack for my my beach bod.
Man, thank you for giving us the tea on that. I've been dying to get a firsthand experience. It sounds, I mean, I've been sold for it already. You literally just put the cherry on top. Like, got me excited and definitely jealous of having that awesome experience, and happy for you to have that awesome experience and being able to pull the trigger last minute and have just like an epic, 4 days or 4 nights, 5 days on the ship.
I would say, like, realistically, like, fun factor wise, it was probably me being by myself, it was probably one of the best times of my life.
Wow.
You don't one of those things. It's like, I'm not afraid, as I'm getting older, it's like, I'm not afraid to go to a concert or go to a show by myself like you were as younger. It's like, oh, I want to be this, but like, especially with a community like the wrestling community, like, it doesn't matter. There's so many people you could just run into and like welcome and join their groups and join whatever. And like, this night I'm hanging out with these people, this night I'm hanging out with this people. And that's just the cruise vibe in general too.
It's like you were by yourself, you were solo, but you weren't alone.
Yeah. I mean, I had experience one time I was in Rochester, New York at a Dynamite. Guys I was sitting beside. He's like, "What do you guys?" He asked me what I was doing after the show. I'm like, I don't know, going back to my Airbnb. He's like, "Dude, I know where the wrestlers are at, like at the bar." He's like, "Why don't you come with us?" And I was like, "Okay." So I just rode with them, and we hung out with, it was when Tony Storm and Thunder got together. Thunderstorm.
Oh, nice.
And like that was another mind blowing experience for me. I'm just sitting there, and like Orange Cassidy's walking by, like Scorpio Sky, like Thunder came down. I mean, it was just like, that was one of my first experiences, like being around wrestlers and like just try to be cool and not be like marking out, like, it's.
That's awesome, dude.
It's hard not to, because you're a fan first, and then obviously you're a respectable adult and all that. So, but man, that's cool.
I just try to be, I try to be kind of cool, and like, and you kind of know your boundaries when you start talking to them, like, where you might stand. So I just try to respect that, and you know what? I've never had a bad experience talking to any AEW wrestler. Like, they've always been so kind.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised no one found out you were solo and tried to come back to your cabin with you, like Harley or Lance Archer, or
yeah. Well, you said it, Lance Archer.
Yeah. Or you just walk in and there's Orange Cassidy just sitting there like, "Oh, hey man, I'd be
like, yeah, that would have been cool if he was on the boat."
He would have just been, would you have noticed him? He would just be like, wouldn't that been something you just laugh, like you don't even notice him at first, like he's just randomly just sitting somewhere, just chilling.
All that, I mean, that happens all like there, like it does happen all the time. Like, you know, you might miss somebody if you're not paying attention, you know, because they're everywhere.
We're definitely going. Dynamite Download 2026. We're going. It's done.
Man, I put
We're
a little
going.
sour note. I thought it was sooner, but yes, I'm down. I'm down to go. That's a good time for me.
We're
in
going.
that early November. That's when I just cruised. I actually cruised kind of over those dates this past November on the world's largest ship, the Icon of the Seas, for my mom's birthday, and so it was pretty epic. Loved it.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was such a cool trip. I'm always looking to get back to the sea. It just depends on scheduling and all that with work, but I love cruising. And if you time it right, it can be very affordable and it's the best bang for your buck, in my opinion. But man, thanks, Brent, for coming on and talking about that. Appreciate it. And
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. You know, it's awesome.
I hope what they do next year or for 2020, they actually film an episode they did before. And so I'm looking at the days of the week this is, because I thought that was really cool. I think they did it one of the first ones. So 7 through 11 is Saturday through Wednesday. So I mean, they could do a live collision on the ship. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah,
that'd be sweet. But I almost, if I could ask this, Britt, on one hand, I love that would be great, but on the other hand, do you think that would actually hurt the vibe a little bit if there was like television or versus the whole, you know, because I saw wrestlers grabbing beers and I think Nyla chugged a hurricane or something before.
Yeah. I think Enzo hit Nick Nemeth with a fish fillet sandwich or something. Like, yeah, I think you're right. I didn't, you know, there would probably be someone would have to probably get on the horn. Well, if you go to a regular live event, I mean, people are drinking and having a good time.
Yeah.
So
what doesn't happen on TV doesn't get televised, right?
Yeah, unless they would do a taping or something, which wouldn't be a bad idea either. You know, if they could edit it. But I did like that cruise that they did the live Dynamite. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, total different vibe. Cool thing to do.
Yes.
Well, guys, great episode of Dynamite Download. Thanks for coming on.
Definitely.
Last week and tonight, appreciate it. Great show last night.
Anytime, guys.
Collision is going to be a fire show. I mean, they got some stacked matches for Collision in 2 days.
Thunder and Penelope.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for that. That's going to be so good.
Great overall matches, and we're the best wrestle. And we appreciate you all in the chat.